John Cena's theme.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
This is Cena rapping in the song.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
So Cena almost.
If I can get him to rap.
Cena almost got like fired. People don't know this.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot.
So
He's very funny. He's a good actor.
So he kissed up to China. But yeah, he's very talented.
Cock blockers.
He made a comment. He referred to Taiwan as, oh, heaven forbid, Taiwan, and then had to apologize in Mandarin to the Chinese for referring to Taiwan as Taiwan.
Oh,
because he didn't want to lose all his relationships.
Yeah.
Pussy. Anyway,
well,
the point is,
I think he probably was ass-buying to WWE
or whomever. Well, here's the thing about the guys like The Rock and guys like Cena is that Vince has a say in all their, not a say, but he has an executive producer credit for all their movies, all their deals, right? Because
for how long?
For I think in perpetuity.
Really?
Yeah. Forever. He gets a piece of all their action. So with Cena used to wear trunks based on the if he went to Buffalo, let's say, he'd wear red, white, and blue trunks because of the Bills. Oh, yeah. If he went to Pittsburgh, it would be gold and black. Yeah. The thing is that his personality wasn't showing through. Then one day, they're on the back of a bus, and he's rapping. He's freestyle rapping as a joke because they're all having a freestyle rap contest. And Stephanie McMahon hears him, and she pulls him aside, and he's about getting close to getting released. He was getting booed. He wasn't drawn well. She goes, "Can you do that on command?" He goes, "Oh, yeah. I'm going to turn you into a rapper character." And then his whole career did a 180.
Really?
And he became like this generational good guy wrestler. Like he never went bad.
Okay.
He was always a good guy. And then he became like the biggest star after The Rock.
Yeah.
In pro wrestling.
Now
men hated him, but kids loved him. And since the kids loved him, they're going to grow up to love him.
Sure.
Like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'm not a fan, so I knew he came from the WWE world, but he had a personality.
Yeah.
He was in comedies. He was funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got a personality.
Yeah.
He actually follows me on Twitter, believe it or not. It's so weird. I think he follows a lot of people, though. I mean, like, I think he follows everybody who follows him.
Well, you're cool.
Yeah, right.
There's a humble brag.
Yeah, right.
Why don't you DM him, see if he'll come on and talk to us?
Can't see me. My time is mine. No, but like from 2000 to about 2020, I never really paid attention to wrestling. I kind of saw it from a glance.
Oh, did you?
So then
2000 to 2020?
Then these podcasts started coming out with a guy named Conrad Thompson who lives in your son's hometown of Huntsville, Alabama.
Yep.
First Family Mortgage. This guy like has all this wrestling memorabilia, and he meets Bruce Pritchard. Now he's Ric Flair's son-in-law, and Bruce Pritchard and him do this podcast called Something to Wrestle With, and then this became the biggest podcast literally in the world.
Really?
Yes, and then he started spawning more wrestling podcasts and built this empire.
All right.
And so now, all of a sudden, like wrestling has had this resurgence in nostalgia because of Conrad Thompson and Bruce Pritchard. So that's how I kind of got into it, because you go down a YouTube rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you get the clips,
right.
And all of a sudden, bang, you're a fan of these guys, and you're listening to them, and they're sending you videos every day.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Talk to me about the Vince McMahon stuff. Let me start by saying what I know, which is not a lot, and I only read headlines and I heard different things. But from what I understood, Vince McMahon has stepped down as the CEO of two things, WWE and what's the other?
TKO, I believe.
TKO.
Endeavor, which owned the UFC, bought the WWE.
Okay.
And
so is Vince not involved with that?
No, he's involved.
Right.
He went away from the WWE for a while back in July, and then he came back on the scene.
Right.
Or he went back about a year ago, but he came back on the scene to close this deal.
Okay, so from what I understand, he's stepping down because of allegations of sexual harassment, and then I thought I read sex trade, and somebody then sex trafficking. So right, I said trade. Sex trafficking would be the term.
I'll trade you a Nancy for a Janet.
And then the one woman said she was a sex slave for him.
Yeah. So
these are pretty horrible, awful allegations to have leveled at you.
Yes,
and not something to be taken lightly in any way, shape, or form.
It is
But
Awful.
but the McMahon family, isn't his wife involved in the wrestling?
Yes. So I guess Vince and his wife haven't lived together in years.
Okay,
he's a known. He's even admitted that he's a known like philanderer.
Okay, all right.
But they still control the bit. She runs a super PAC, I think, in Florida.
Okay. Political.
Yes. But he's still been the chairman of the WWE. He brokered the deal to sell it to Endeavor. He also brokered the deal to, work with TKO, which of course is part of UFC and everything else. And I don't know the underpinnings of that, but they pushed that deal through because they knew that these allegations were going to come back out. Apparently, this woman, her name was Jennifer Grant or something like that.
Yes.
Janelle Grant. And Janelle Gant, apparently she lived in the same apartment complex as Vince McMahon. Now, Vince McMahon is a billionaire, so I'm sure if he's living in an apartment complex in Stamford, Connecticut or Florida, wherever he was living, it's pretty high class, okay? Her parents, she came to take care of her parents. They both died. She needed a job. And so somebody said, hey, this beautiful girl needs a job for you. Needs a job. Could you hire her? He meets her. And all of a sudden, the job became, according to her, and her allegations was to perform sexual acts for him and other people in his circle. And she showed the text messages that he'd send her, which are incredibly graphic.
All right, give me one. Where did you see this?
Oh, it was
the text messages.
The Wall Street Journal published this.
The Wall Street Journal published it. Now I just typed in to the big thinking box.
They're so bad I can't read them.
Vince McMahon allegations, and what came up is assault. Vince McMahon. This is according to Vanity Fair. It was an article that came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon faces new wave of sexual assault allegations, cuts ties with WWE, and then in parentheses again. And let's see. The scene at the New York Stock Exchange on Tuesday seemed to be a happy one. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stood shoulder to shoulder with co-founder Vince McMahon, WWE, Worldwide Wrestling. The Magnet and the Action Star were all smiles as he rang the exchange's opening bell, a gesture intended to celebrate his move to join the board of the WWE's parent company, TKO Group Holdings, just a few days earlier.
They went public as an IPO, initial public offering.
The makeup of TKO's board could change again, but this time was presumably less jolly. The 78-year-old abruptly resigned. He's 78.
Yeah.
Looks great. Must be taking all those supplements. Well, I wonder if he's taking
he's
with K2.
I think he's been using stuff for a long time.
Resigned as the executive chairman of the board of directors Friday after a former employee accused McMahon of sex trafficking,
yes,
rape, and workplace harassment. God damn, man.
Yeah,
those are things. Those are
text
you
message.
don't want any in today's day and age. You don't want anything at all. Mm-hmm. And people go, wow, you can't do what you used to. Well, you can. You can't slap your secretary on the ass and say, looking good. Just it's not.
No.
You should never have been able to do that. Okay.
No, that's awful.
The allegations, which were made as part of the lawsuit brought by Janelle Grant in Connecticut's U.S. District Court, are not the first time McMahon has faced high profile, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. Here. The Wall Street Journal report detailing millions of so-called hush money allegedly paid out to keep secret allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity. A subsequent investigation by the WWE's board found that over 16 years, he had spent $14.6 million in payments to women who had accused him of sexual misconduct.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, ex-referees.
The New York Times reports a second internal investigation revealed an additional $5 million paid to two women. McMahon, for his part, denied that any of the interactions he had were non-consensual. He's also accused of sexually assaulting a Florida tanning salon employee in 2006. He was arrested by Boca Raton police and charged with sexual battery, but prosecutors declined to move forward with the case. That was according to the Daily Beast in 2018. Man, there's a pattern here, right? I always say that.
And that's the whole thing. There's a huge pattern to this.
According to the Wall Street Journal, which was the first to report on Thursday's lawsuit, and you read this article, Grant accused McMahon of multiple 2021 assaults, said he coerced her into relations with other company executives, and alleged that he shared revealing photos and videos of Grant with other staffers, among other claims. The full following details in graphic detail is available online.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. And before you, if you
I just clicked it.
the text that she
So
shared.
this is the lawsuit, basically what I'm looking at there.
The texts that she shared are so bad. I know we're a podcast and we can't get in trouble for reading them, but just from the human side of things, they're just so bad. You wouldn't want to read these out loud. It's awful. They're racist.
Racist.
There's defecation involved.
Stop it. People shit on her?
Yeah.
Dude.
On her head.
On her head?
Yeah.
They shit on her head?
Vince did.
Vince shit on her head?
Yeah. That's why I don't want to get into the specifics. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Look it up, folks. I mean, it's bad.
WWE crown.
It's so Vince.
It's a crown of shame.
Here's the
Oh my God.
Here's the tell. His daughter, who was supposed to be really the inheritor of the company,
Yeah.
left months ago. It's like, I don't want anything to do with it.
Wow.
I don't want anything. I'm done. Her husband, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, or John Levesque,
Yeah.
or Paul Levesque, excuse me, as they call him, he's still involved with this whole TKO thing. He's on the board. I mean, but it's just brutal. It's so bad, and there's a pattern. This isn't just like a woman trying to extort a guy. I mean, there's a pattern of all the gifts that he used to give her.
So
and apparently, the reason
all
she's
right,
suing him is because he was late on a payment, or he decided to stop payments of hush money.
Okay.
But she signed an NDA.
Okay, let me ask you this. You sign an NDA, you do this sort of thing. Some of it sounds humiliating and awful.
Yeah.
It does. But you were compensated for it. So where
Right.
I
know what you mean.
Well, I know this is I can't.
It's humiliating.
First of all, I can't imagine
Right.
doing that. Hold still. I got a good one brewing. I mean, I just can't. Okay, that means I can't wrap my head around that in any way, shape, or form
because it's so ridiculous.
Yes, but the other thing is that if you were being compensated and you agreed to these sorts of things, as awful as they are, what is a court of law going to do other than when the payment stopped and it was hush money and it was this sort of thing? I mean, he's a filthy animal.
Yes.
Right? He's a filthy animal, not somebody you would want to be around, not somebody you'd want to be associated with. But it was something that was kept. I mean, a lot of people are into some weird, kinky stuff. Like, if you found out your doctor liked being humiliated and talked down to and tied up and just whipped. No sexual stuff, but in a sexual way, it gets off on that. But the woman does she dominatrix. Mm-hmm. Would that make you not want to go to that doctor? He's the best. He's the best doctor.
No, because I need him to be my doctor.
Right, and that's not what I'm asking for. So with this thing with Vince, if he was a great executive, but he did this stuff and he took care of it, I don't know. It's awful though. Then the one to me is the sex trafficking stuff or coercing her to have sex with other people. That's embarrassing. There's got to be a point where, I mean, do you take drugs to go through with it? You understand what I'm saying? Like, for her to say, I'm gonna do this, and it makes me a little more accepting of what I'm about to do, and then in a sober moment, you go, God, I mean, this is depression and it's suicide and, suicidal, some people. So what happens with porn? I don't know.
I feel bad for her state that she would continue to feel that she needed to go through this. I mean, because you could always just if she's not being held against her will, she could have always just left, right?
Right, but the money was so good.
Yeah.
And he had a nice lifestyle, and it's, it's hard. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've never walked in
I
those
don't know.
shoes.
That's the thing is I don't know.
I would hope not.
God damn, no, this dude is fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
So does that make you not want to ever watch WWE, or what do you like? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's hard
this
because
is where
here's I'm
we
going to
get
say
the cancel culture.
Here's what I'm going to say: you can cancel anything. We live in America where we don't know where the sausage is made or how it's made. We just get sausage, and we get the best sausage. If you look hard enough, you can protest everything, and anything.
Yeah, well,
if you
somebody
look close enough.
Somebody protested in France earlier today. We're taping this on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They threw pumpkin soup at the Mona Lisa. Now, the Mona Lisa is behind glass, but they were protesting. Yes, but they were protesting over, it was over food. So I don't know why you're throwing pumpkin soup on, but they were protesting over food, basically saying in France, food is unaffordable for most people. and we need to get affordable wages. So it was a way to get, and they didn't damage it because it's behind glass. They kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But yes, we protest. We protest anything.
I think protest is more for like attention to yourself
Well, was
than
it
anything else?
It can be. It can be. But this is horrible.
This is terrible. This is terrible. Now, I mean, like I said, I don't really watch WWE as it is right now because, like, not because of Vince McMahon's he's just his acts, because the product's garbage. The product's been garbage for a long time. So last night, just for the heck of it, I watched the Royal Rumble because it was on, and the ending was predictable, and it was trash. And it's like, this is why I don't watch this. I don't watch this anymore.
But it's not aimed at you.
But
it's probably not aimed at you. It's probably aimed at a younger version of you.
Yeah, but you know what? Look at that audience, though. They're about guys my age.
Are they with their kids?
No.
Oh, well,
no.
I
mean, it's like, I don't want to make fun of wrestling fans because there's some, bright people who like wrestling, and I enjoyed it as a kid. Okay, but at some point I grew up and stopped watching. Yes. Well, the thing was, it was when McMahon started losing to WCW and WWE was having problems. They really needed to turn things around, and they decided to go into more risque programming and gear it towards 18 to 34-year-olds, right? College kids and up. And that's when Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock became big. But they invented their own characters, and the WWE just went along for the ride, where WCW was its own mess and it imploded. But then all of a sudden, Vince realizes, okay, my audience is getting older. I got to go back and gear it towards kids again.
Yeah.
So now we're in that cycle where you got a bunch of guys who are in their late 20s, early 30s who came along in that second wave who are still watching this stuff. But the ratings have steadily declined over the years. There's only about 2 million people a week who watch wrestling.
But we just talked about going down a rabbit hole for hours on YouTube of watching like women gazing or what is it? ASMR. I know I had that wrong.
Hi, Bill.
But I mean, those kinds of things. So all that's competing for people's attention and time. So part of the ratings decline is just the fact that,
the NFL's not declining.
Well, because it's the only game in town of that. I can watch wrestling clips. I can watch, right? I want to see the live action.
Well, here's the thing. Fox.
Betting.
Well, did you hear the big, after the TKO announcement, what happened the day before? Netflix announced that Raw is going to Netflix as of January of next year.
To do it live?
So it will stream live. Netflix doesn't do live streaming very often. They did with the Chris Rock special.
Right. That was the first time.
Yeah. So they're going to stream Raw on Monday nights.
Yeah.
And for 5 years, Fox paid $1 billion or $1 billion to $2 billion for SmackDown. Why? Because it's live. It's live athletic. People need to know the results now.
Right.
So they're going to watch it now on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And you can still draw those numbers. So it's like live programming is what is really going to continue to sell on network television. Everything else is going to streaming.
Yeah. One other thing, real quick, sort of an offshoot of this. As we watch, the world is changing, right? And we've talked about this and I think somebody took pictures of you guys and ran it through that filter where you could see you naked. I forget what it was called. We had talked about this AI thing, right? So now you can't search Taylor Swift on X, formerly Twitter.
Okay.
Because somebody has taken pictures and made Taylor Swift AI, I will say it's pornographic, okay? So it's her, like, in the suites at the Chiefs game in all kinds of different positions and all kind of humiliating things. And I don't know if she was contacted or I don't think anybody's gone to her, but supposedly she's very upset and is considering a lawsuit. But right now you can't search her on X at all. I don't know how she was able to get that done, but that's not happening. She's $1 billion industry. I know people were upset, and I think it was brought up on this podcast when she was in a fan video that someone had taken and they got a cease and desist. Well, yeah, more people are looking at it because it's Taylor. And maybe it was Taylor in an unfiltered moment where they don't want that out. I mean, she is a business. A lot of people depend on her. She's not a human. She's a corporation. She is worth more than probably Kodak these days.
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was a huge part of American Kodak where we was the thing here. It was the thing around America. You had Bill Cosby, another philanderer, and Bill, right?
Yeah. I mean, so many people that
yeah.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. They're not kidding.
I guess. I guess.
But here's the thing, though. Guys like Vince and guys like Bill Cosby, they had help. They had help.
Yeah. They had
You don't get to do that unless you got a lot of help.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And
that's a great point because no one does anything really alone. You have to get somebody knows too. I always think somebody has a suspicion, or you tell them, or whatever. But I could never. I don't know. Maybe I'm sexually weird. Like I could never do that. I don't think.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, but
that's not natural.
No,
those things aren't natural. We've lost our collective minds.
Well,
because we've had so much access in America, and so access leads to excess.
Yeah, but we're talking about over the year. I mean, you had Cosby and women and Vince McMahon. I mean, these are guys. I mean, Vince McMahon's almost 80 years old.
What do you think that? Let's be honest. Now, look at Vince McMahon. Look at guys like Bill Cosby. Powerful people who did some horrible things.
Yes.
What do you think that the world, the 1%ers? I should have said the 1% of the 1%ers are going to do to us in this planet? Because I'll tell you what, right now. Man,
what are you doing?
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
What are you doing?
But man,
they want to eliminate your conspiracy, Dan.
They want to eliminate about 7 billion people off this planet.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yes. Well, I can. Yeah.
People, pay attention.
All right, so keep yourself healthy.
As Springsteen famously said,
stay forward.
Poor men want to be rich,
and the rich men
want to be king, and the king ain't satisfied till he rules everything.
All right. What are they going to do to us? I don't know. Keep yourself healthy.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Get your guns.
Just don't get your guns and live in paranoia. For God's sake, don't live in paranoia.
I don't have.
Don't.
Sorry.
I'm
talking about your.
Think positive.
Your guns.
Think positive.
Your muscles.
Go. Live
Work
in your
out.
life. Yeah. Good Lord, Daniel. Leo's. It's always a great place to go.
It is.
They got to-go foods for quick and easy meals. To go from Leo's Cafe or Deli. Telling you right now, you got a busy life going on. You mentioned kids earlier. You're running them around. It's nice when everybody can sit down. It's actually nice when you don't have to, one, take the time to cook. Two, you can pick up a variety of to-go meals at Leo's Cafe or Deli, and that way people can have a choice, right? Maybe, you ever sit down and, we're having this. I don't think anybody eats this anymore, but I remember like once a week we would have liver. And awful. And liver is supposed to be very good for you.
Yeah.
But I hated it. I hated the way it smelled. I hated everything. I wouldn't want to eat it. But let's say it's liver night. You don't have to have liver night. You can go get a quiche. You can have chicken. I can have chicken pot pie, and you can have spaghetti and meatballs. I can have shepherd's pie. You could have a turkey dinner. Chicken parm. We can sit down, though, and converse as a family.
Yeah.
And make it easy for everybody in their busy schedules. And that's what Leo's does. I think, you know what I'm thinking? Leo's brings the family together.
They do.
I really do.
They do.
Pre-packed and ready to go for you to grab for your next meal from Leo's. And they have fresh baked $2 French bread and Italian bread all day, every day. What's the best thing about Leo's?
Everything, Billy.
On Dispatch Drive in East Rochester, open every day.